Easy Sports Talk Show with Ed Smith and Javon Adams. We do this 3 times a week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We are back in the swing of things. It's almost like we were on spring break and now we back in school, or not spring break, but summer break. You know how that stuff goes. He is Ed Smith, played professional baseball, also played in the National Football League on that first Super Bowl bound team for the Atlanta Falcons, and he could definitely hit a fastball when he was playing in the minor leagues, and he's also an author and a motivational speaker, and he's just a man about town. And I am, I'm a jack of all trades. Javon Adams. That's what I do, man. What's good? What's good with you?
Tell it, man, what's going on with you, man? We are in full swing, as you mentioned. So much stuff going on. We got all kind of stuff.
Yes, indeed. So again, this is the kind of the reset here. So we have the podcast, the Easy Sports Talk Show podcast. We also have a podcast that we do for the Believe Network. It's called Believe in the Arizona Cardinals, BLEAV in the Arizona Cardinals. We are back in the swing of things with that as well. So make that a part of your routine if you are a fan of the Arizona Cardinals. And then, of course, on Saturdays, we have our radio show. We've had that. Ed has had that for 6 years, and we've been together for 4.5, almost 5 years. But more specifically, now we have taken it up another level. So we do that 1 to 3 Eastern. It's Sports Map Radio. So you can, it's, wherever you may be, you can listen terrestrially as well. But if you want to take us in your back pocket, then you go to sportsmapradio.com and you can download the app, and it's 1 to 3 Eastern Saturdays. So a couple things on the agenda for today. And I want we're doing a little bit of vision cast and holding each other accountable for a couple things here, which is one of them. But first off, I want to talk about, and this is kind of two of the topics kind of deal with this leadership. So it was yesterday I came across something, and you probably came across this too, where Coach Rivera for the Washington Commanders comes out and he's talking about, or he's addressing, maybe trying to get in front of everything, get in front of it, some players complaining about the intensity of Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy was the former offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's for the last few seasons, he has been the topic, especially in the offseason when you have that coaching carousel that comes into place, where it doesn't seem as if he's getting a fair shake at an opportunity to coach or lead a team, the opportunity to fail, opportunity to succeed, just an opportunity based upon his track record and what his resume has, right? Because we look at, there are many cases or examples of coaches that have been given opportunities and flamed out, and others that has seen some success. And so what Eric decided to do was he resigned from the offensive coordinator position with the Kansas City Chiefs and decided to take on the same role for the Washington Commanders, almost I'll show you what I can do to make sure, so you can see how I am. There's been speculation that he rubs people the wrong way. I want to ask this, man. Can a coach be too intense?
Well, I have questions about all parties in this instance.
Okay.
To answer your question, yeah, anybody can be too something, too,
okay.
Throw in your adjective, too intense, too laid back, too frenetic, too, spastic, whatever. Anybody can be too something. But this is a game. This game of football is intense in itself. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to figure out. There are so many questions here. Ron Rivera, what are you doing? You got players coming to you whining. I mean, like if the player went to a head coach's office, and I hate to use that back in the day, he'd have been like, get out of my damn office. He'd have thrown him out of there for questioning intensity, right. For Eric Bieniemy, is he maybe a little over the top? Maybe is he trying to show himself? Maybe, but at the same time, he's trying to instill a new. We always talk about that word, culture.
Yes.
Maybe I think I saw somewhere we all know the Redskins were at the bottom of all statistics offensively. You've got a second-year quarterback. We don't even know his name. Dave Blau or something like that, whatever it is.
Nah, Blau was on the Cardinals.
Blau was on the Cardinals. So whoever this dude is for the Commanders, okay. So he's trying to create something over there. Then you got players whining. he's being too hard on us. He's yelling at us, and he's making us. Man, you are. Oh my God. I mean,
Could that be? Because I want to let you finish your point. Could that be? Because I'm thinking about the Cardinals, for example, the previous regime with Cliff Kingsbury, and now we have Gannon, Jonathan Gannon, that's here now, and there, by all of reports, it is a stark difference, stark comparison in terms of the lax nature that was, and now the more intense and maybe even more focused nature of this particular camp. But so go ahead.
I hate to use the word, but these dudes need to man up, bro. I mean, as far as Bieniemy, even if he is being a little over the top, how soft are you that you got to go to the head coach whining and crying and hey, why don't you up your game? Step it up. I mean, it's not like we're coming into like he's coming to this great culture and great, you got new ownership, one who's looking and watching.
Right.
Rivera, golly, if I'm the ownership, I'm looking at him like, what kind of ship you running over there? Right. Where if somebody comes in, all of a sudden, this guy's too tough on the players. And so what's been going on the last few years?
Does that reflect on the coach then?
It does. That's what I'm saying. It really does. I'm going back to my days. I'm imagining one of us when I was in some good organizations, I was some bad organizations, but I'm imagining one of us knocking on Coach Dan Reeves' door, talking about our coordinators being a little tough on us. He would have laughed. He'd been like, and he would have, you know what he'd done? He'd have called us out in the meeting that whatever the next day, that day or whatever. He'd let everybody know, hey, I want to let everybody know that such and such, I want you guys to take it a little easy on him today because, he's having a rough time because Coach Bieniemy's, being a little rough on him. So I want everybody to make sure you're real extra, make sure you go up and maybe even give him a hug or something today. That's the type of response we would have got back in the day. Now, and here's the thing for Rivera, this is one of those times where you don't even let this one squeak out the box. If you're asked about this and you laugh it off yourself, like, hey, yeah, we'll talk about that internally. But to give that a response and almost like, and I don't think he gave the proper response because he started hee-hawing and, well, the players of today and, and I know Eric hasn't been in this position for, and I know, I mean, it's like, one, this should not be a story for so many reasons. One, because the players should not be going to the head coach. The head coach shouldn't be even acknowledging this. And if everybody gets together and you go and talk, like, say, if they did go to Rivera, you call, because here's the thing, it's not like Ron Rivera is not out there watching practice and seeing what's going on. So if he thinks Bieniemy is being a little, maybe getting in their face too much, man, you have a coaches meeting to squash that. But like I said, this is wrong, and this is why bad organizations are bad for so many reasons. And this is just another example. We think just because they got rid of Snyder that everything's will be righted now. Nah, bro, the apple is red on the outside, but it's rotten on the inside. So, I mean, regardless of, it looks good. The second you bite into it, it's all brown on the inside. I mean, you throw that thing in the trash. And this is what this whole thing is another example of why that organization is so bad. It's regardless of the color of the apple, it's just rotten on the inside, man.
Yeah, it really did strike me as, because I try not to be, and I hope I'm not going to lean on being that guy that says that back in the day or the people are a little sensitive. But what happens, or more sensitive today than they were, years ago. But what happens is, in my opinion, is that if you give an inch, take a foot. Absolutely. And so if you give me, if it's not apples to apples, but if I come in 30 minutes late to work and you don't say nothing, and I come in 30 minutes late the next day and you don't say nothing, and the next 2 or 3 days I come in 30 minutes to work and you don't say nothing, then you're not tripping, right?
You start doing, Jay? You start coming in 35, 40 minutes later.
Yep, and you see how far you can push it.
Thank you.
And then so when you get to the point where you're coming in an hour late, and they say, hey, we noticed you're coming in an hour late. We need you to not come in an hour. Okay, so you 55 minutes, maybe 50. But you're not going to go all the way back to saying, yeah, you're right. I'll come in on time, or I'll be here 5 minutes early. So the same type of thing where it does strike me as as interesting. It strikes me as something that's a sad reflection of, if not sports as a whole, but at least that organization or the players that they've decided to bring into that organization, and how they've become comfortable with maybe doing less to try to get more. Because in today's world, there you can this happens with the Seattle Seahawks, and so maybe you'll agree or disagree. Let me know what you think here. You hear those reports about the Seahawks when Carroll is working them too hard, and then they get fined. That's because somebody on the team is saying, "Hey man, he working us a little bit too hard, dog. You better let me go ahead and be the anonymous source to be able to get this stuff out there." So I think that Rivera was trying to get ahead of it. Somebody going to the media to then say this training camp or Bieniemy is working us too hard. That's why I think he got in front of it. But to your point, the way in which he spoke about it or presented it, or the stance that he made, is not one of a strong foundation, in my opinion.
If you're not winning Super Bowls, if you've been as bad as the Commanders have been over the last bunch of years, you need a fire lit under somebody's butt. And in my opinion, we're not there to see what's going on,
right?
But there's a whole lot more things, bro. I remember. I mean, you talk about coaches getting in your face, and we go back to a day when coaches could grab your face mask and little spittle all up in your face, and
no, I ain't trying to have you grab my face, dog.
No, but I'm just saying. But back in the day, that was acceptable. We moved on from that. But I'm saying, where I'm leading to is, if little language or getting on your tail a little bit is where the bar is. That bar has been lowered so much, bro. I mean, it's just, to me, it's just another sign of that generation, Indeed. And I don't, there was a time when you can, even with our kids today, man, what was acceptable for us back in the day, and we moved past the day of, butt whoopings and all that kind of stuff. But you can't even so much as, talk to a child harshly, and you're viewed as, well, that's abusive, and you have to take their feelings into account. And bruh, I mean, inside the walls of my house, when it needs to be put down, I put it down.
Right.
And, consequences all be damned. And, we're talking about a professional sport. We're talking about, guys getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars. And you're talking about, he yelled at me, or he's being too hard on me. I mean, I just have a different feel for it. But like I'm saying, this isn't just, and I want this to be known, it's not just the players. Right. This is Coach Ron Rivera. How are you handling it? This is how you handle your business. And then maybe Airbnb, maybe tone it down a little bit. But I'm telling you, this is just a bad look for the organization that has had so many bad looks over the years. Yeah. And then, like if this would have been the Baltimore Colts, or not Baltimore, the Indianapolis Colts, or, San Fran, or you'd be like, I might have been, raise my eyebrow a little bit, because that's a little out of their character. They're usually a much better. This is the Commanders, bro. This is the Commanders.
All right, Easy Sports Talk Show. Ed Smith, Javon Adams. So along those lines, who is the best leader that you've ever been around, and why? Who's the best leader that you have ever been around, and why? So maybe, if not even the best, but maybe one wonderful or great leader that you've been around. I think of when I was in the corporate world, there was a gentleman that his name is James. And I'll always remember, we were sitting there and he's asking me, and oftentimes when you have those one-on-one meetings that where they say, where do you see yourself in a year from now or 5 years? And they don't really care. They're just asking because you're supposed to ask that. And so I told him where I saw myself and what I wanted to do and what I did not want to do. And he said, all right. Next week he came to me and he said, you're going to be making a presentation in front of the department next week. And I said, what? And he said, yeah, you said you wanted to do X, Y, Z. So this is going to give you an opportunity to be able to shine and get in front of those people. So that's what you're going to do. If you want to run by what you're going to say in front of those people, feel free. Let me know. I'm happy to help, man. But that's what it is. Peace. And that is what made him so great to me, because it wasn't just about him, because he knew I wasn't a spectacular employee, but I was pretty damn good. Right. And he knew that he would be losing me, but what was more important were my personal and professional goals as opposed to his goals. And he did what he could to put me in a position to sink or swim. And I always appreciate him for that.
Best leader, and you've heard me say his name ad nauseum, Coach Dan Reeves, because he was so fair. And he didn't care whether you were the first dude on the roster or number 53, where I was closer to 53 than number one. But there were days when he would come out, he treated every one of us on the same platform, on the same level. He talked to every one of us every single day. He acknowledged us, and it was more than football with him. He cared about us as men. Whereas I played for other coaches, you were only as good as what you could do for them on Sundays. And I'll throw a name out there, and I'm not talking about him in a negative, like I'm trying to call him out. But I remember when my first year in the league, I played for North Turner. And I guarantee you, if we flash back to 1996 when I was playing for North, and I'm talking, I was in uniform, out there on the field, helmet off, we were stretching, he still couldn't tell you my name. And because he could care less, in my opinion, about the dudes at the end of the roster. Whereas there were days we'd be in line stretching, and he made sure if I was in line next to another dude, he always made sure he came over and talked to the stars. Made sure those dudes knew, hey, how you doing today? And they had their little conversations, and I'd be standing right next to him and looking up almost like that puppy, like, hey, you're going to acknowledge me. You walk in the door, the first thing your dog does, standing by the door, looking at you like, hey, I've been waiting for you all day. And she's going to pet me, and just turn the eye and walk away. Whereas Coach Reeves, like I said, every day, say, hey, Ed, how you doing today? And, how you been? How's things, going for you, how's the playbook going for you this week? Just acknowledge you, He even fined me one time because I had missed signing. I think I told you this story before. I wasn't late for or didn't miss lunch. He gave us a morning off. This is during camp. So we had the morning off, but we had to be back by dinner time. And no matter what, we always had to sign in for dinner. Now I was there for dinner, talked to him, saw my tight ends coach Daniels there. I forgot to sign the signing sheet. So I'm in meetings later that evening, and we get a knock on our meeting room door, and Coach Reeves comes in. There's only 4 of us tight ends in there, and our tight ends coach. And he starts talking about, man, that was we just casual conversation. Then he brought up, man, that was a pretty expensive dinner for some guys, huh? And I'm like looking at him, like, what's that talking about? And all of a sudden I realized, like, oh, I forgot to sign in. And he's like, yeah, he looked at me, and I was like, well, Coach, you saw me. I was right there. I tell you, he's like, got the sheep right here. I didn't, and he's like, and I started laughing. But and that cost me $750, right?
Yeah.
But because I didn't hit the rules are rules
right.
for whoever 1 through 53, and I laughed about it. I didn't laugh about it when I saw that 750. I never saw the 750 because it came right out of my check. But I could understand rules are rules, and Coach Reeves was fair with all of us. Right. I saw him find other guys. So that's why I always appreciated that. And he joked about it. And that 750 went to charity, and I could afford it. So, it's all good. But because of my relationship with him, because it was a relationship with all of us, I always respected him on the field. And I would run through a brick wall for that man. He's the one. He's the one.
All right. So last one before we head out of here. Again, Easy Sports Talk Show. Do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend. Also, believe in the Arizona Cardinals, BLEAV, in the Arizona Cardinals. If you are an Arizona Cardinals fan, and we give our analysis on that. And every Saturday we have the Easy Sports Talk Show on Sports Map Radio, 98 different markets. But if you want to catch us, take us around in your back pocket, go to sportsmapradio.com, and then you'll be able to download the app for whether it's Android or for Apple. So, vision casting, latter half of the year. I want to know personal goal, or if you want a goal or two that you're going to accomplish by the end of the year. I'll go first. Me, I've had some challenges with my running. For those who listen, they know that I'm a runner. So I'm going to run a marathon before December 31st. I'm going to run a marathon before December 31st, and then I'm also going to put out 2 music projects before the end of the year. So I got marathon and 2 music projects. Up to you. Now on you.
Mine is predicated on, because I do know I need another surgery on my back. I'm kind of I don't have that movement and stuff right now. I would like to lose a few pounds.
Okay.
I'd like say I'd like 20 pounds by the end of the year. I don't think that's an outlandish goal. Some of it is predicated on the fact that I'm limited in my movement, but somehow, some way, I should be able to get a little more active, and combine that with eating habits and stuff like that, and lose about 20 pounds. And that would be the start of, to the ultimate goal is getting back somewhere near one of my playing weights. I'd settle for the heaviest I ever played, but I ain't gonna tell you what that was. But if I can get back near that, that would be my goal. Like I said, start off 20 pounds by the end of this year.
All right, you can do it. We hold each other accountable. Hold us accountable. We hold you accountable for being here on Friday when we have the next show. So on behalf of the one and only Ed Easy Smith, I am Javon J. Love Adams. 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Don't forget, Believe in the Arizona Cardinals, BLEAV in the Arizona Cardinals, and Easy Sports Talk Show on Saturdays from 1 to 3 Eastern, or go to sportsmapradio.com and get the app in your pocket. So as we always like to say around this time, you can